Hi, my name is Emma Cameron, and this presentation is a part of the RDOS Noxious Pests program, which has the goal of educating residential tree fruit growers on their responsibility to prevent and control insect pests. This video is a part of a series that highlights different fruit types and the different pests that anyone with a fruit-bearing tree or shrub may come into contact with. These videos are available to anyone that is looking to educate themselves on fruit tree care and insect pests. The Okanagan-Similkameen is home to one of the best growing regions in the country, with an abundance of farms, orchards, and vineyards. Farmers in this region gather and sell their produce at local markets 8 months of the year, providing a bounty of fresh produce. But some of us still want to grow our own food, whether that be for helping children to learn about where their food comes from, or just the simple satisfaction of being more self-sufficient. But this comes with a responsibility that should be known before you consider planting a fruit-bearing tree or shrub. Fruit tree growers are responsible for preventing and controlling insect pests that can not only damage their own plantings, but also neighboring growers that largely depend on fruit productions for their livelihoods. Extra time, effort, and money will be required to adequately care for your fruit tree to not only avoid harmful insect pests, but also to grow fruit that is an optimal size and flavor. Although I will be referring to trees in this series, it should be known that this refers to any plant material that supports fruit production, including berry bushes and grapevines. Also, although this video series is focused on the pests and the bylaw in the Regional District Okanagan-Similkameen, most of the information provided is applicable to other nearby regions and even throughout the province of BC as a whole, as general fruit tree care is applicable to anyone thinking about planting a fruit-bearing tree or shrub, and many of the pests discussed threaten fruit plantings beyond the Okanagan-Similkameen. The videos in this series will provide tips on general fruit tree care, pest management as a whole, and the specific pests and diseases that affect different fruit-bearing trees and shrubs. Before planting a fruit tree, or even if you have just inherited a fruit tree during a recent move, it's important to understand these 5 essential tasks before taking it on. The most important thing is to understand the RDOS bylaw that is on the RDOS webpage for fruit tree pests. It states the responsibility of the homeowner to prevent and control insect pest infestations, and explains the steps that occur if there is a complaint about your fruit tree. This is important to understand because if there is any negligence to general care and pest prevention, an insect infestation can affect the livelihood of neighboring commercial orchards. Once you understand this bylaw, you should next ask yourself what the reason is behind planting a fruit tree. If it is for decorative and ornamental purposes, there's a plethora of beautiful ornamental trees and shrubs at your local nursery that will be a much better option, and at a fraction of the cost. And to bounce off that, you must also be prepared to invest more time and money in order to avoid pest infestations. This will include diligent sanitation practice, effective pruning, ensuring the soil nutrition is adequate, and proper harvest practice. Next is a very important step that is research. Do the research on your specific fruit tree that you're wanting to plant and understand its planting requirements and its susceptibility to pests. Once you have done this and you're at your local nursery or garden center, ask questions to the employees and suppliers so you can thoroughly understand what you're getting into. To prevent insect pests, most of the times, these strategies will be essential in your fruit tree care routine. Sanitation is by far the most effective way to prevent pests. This includes keeping a clean ground cover, consistently removing any dead or rotting fruit and leaves, and having a consistent weeding routine. Mulching, which is adding sawdust to the ground cover, will control weeds and keep the ground moist to avoid excess water use, in addition to attracting beneficial insects. Having cover crops, which is like the grass in between rows in this image, will help with soil erosion and also provide a natural refuge for natural predators, which keep invasive insects in check. Pruning is a skill in itself, and research should be done before you tackle this. It should not happen in cold temperatures, as winter injuries will welcome pests and disease to your berry bush, and it should be pruned significantly each year to promote light and air penetration. Using raised beds like this is also a good way to prevent pests and keep a clean ground cover. This is the basic outline for an integrated pest management strategy. When you first think you may have a pest problem, following these simple steps will help in diagnosing your problem. First, you must identify the pest type and if it is a common and severe problem in the Okanagan-Similkameen. For example, the very common codling moth gets out of hand very quickly and requires immediate attention, whereas something like mites is very common in this area, and a fruit tree can handle low numbers without any damage. Second, you must determine how severe the damage is. You must ask yourself if the tree will be severely affected and may die if immediate intervention is not done. You must also take into account the likelihood of spreading and how invasive it is. For example, the apple maggot should be something that's frequently looked for, even though the Okanagan similkameen is free of this pest, as it's known to decimate crops in areas close by and must be reported immediately. Thirdly, you must determine what your plan of action is. If you decide that intervention is necessary, always use the least toxic control method possible. Using chemical intervention is typically not necessary for residential plantings and can sometimes do more harm than good by removing the beneficial insects that are keeping the pest in check. And always consult professionals if you're unsure about what to do. This is a big problem pest in the Okanagan similkameen and should be checked for frequently. Most of the time, larvae will be seen burrowed in the fruit when you go to eat it, as the damage holes are quite small. More obvious damage is seen if substantial feeding has occurred, which is when you'll see depressions or softening in the fruit, and juice will be released when squeezed. Adults can be classified by the black spot on the tips of their wings if it's male. Females unfortunately don't have this, so it's often confused with the typical vinegar fruit fly. If these are affecting your crop, the best strategy is to improve your sanitation practice and be more diligent with netting your fruit tree. You should be disposing of all your infested fruit by leaving it to bake in the sun for roughly a week before taking it to your local landfill. The cherry fruitworm should be looked out for and is distinguished by its thick-bodied caterpillar with dark brown or black head that develops inside the berry and exits in late July and early August. The adults are not commonly seen but are a dark gray or brown moth with black stripes on the wings. The damage seen is mostly by tunneling and shriveling of the berry with frass presence. And to manage this pest, larvae and eggs can be removed by hand and make sure any overwintering areas like weeds, prunings, and wounds are minimized. The brown marmorated stink bug is of serious concern in this region because it's known to wreak havoc on crops of many types. It is not numerous in this region yet, but is expected to be, so it should be known to you before you plant your fruit tree or berry bush. Eggs are small and white and are found on the underside of leaves in late May and June, and adults are distinguished from their native lookalikes by their white bands on the last two antennal segments. Damage is characterized by various levels of distortion from feeding injuries as well as premature ripening. To manage this, you can pick them off by hand mostly, and an important note is that you must report sightings of this pest due to its degree of invasiveness and can be reported quite easily through the BC Ministry of Agriculture, or you can contact Susanna at the BC Ministry of Agriculture. Other pests to look out for but are not as much of a serious and damaging problem in the Okanagan similkameen are aphids, weevils, scale insects, tent caterpillars, leaf-feeding caterpillars, and bird damage, which is a more common pest problem that can be mostly just tackled with netting your berries. Pests and diseases can sometimes go hand in hand, where pest problems can weaken the tree and welcome diseases, and vice versa. Anthracnose fruit rot appears on ripe and overripe berries and causes fruit softening, and orange spore masses will seep out of the infected areas. Blueberry scorch, Gadronia canker, and bacterial blight are also concerns and cause red to brown spots on leaves, branches, or on the berry themselves. Now that you know all about your responsibility to prevent and control insect pests, I hope that you weigh all of your options before deciding to plant a fruit tree. With extra time and effort, a fruit-bearing tree or shrub in your backyard can offer healthy and delicious fruit. But you should speak to your local nursery or grower supply staff about what to expect before purchasing the tree. They are highly knowledgeable and can offer additional growing and pest avoidance tips, and answer any of the questions you may have about growing fruit trees in your local region. Growing a fruit tree is time-consuming and typically requires extra money to care for if you want delicious fruit with little to no insect pests. But you can also leave all the work to the professionals and support your local farmers markets instead. This is a good option if you are not willing to follow general care tips to prevent pests, or spend the extra money to do so. Before we go, it is important to also remember that everywhere in BC is bear country. More than a quarter of all black bears in Canada live in BC, and here in the Okanagan, bears have come into conflict with humans in all parts of the region, even in the middle of every community, town, and city. Often these bears are lured in by unsecured garbage and attractants like fruit trees, berry bushes, and backyard fowl. Caring and maintaining your home-raised food sources goes a long way to having a pest-free, bountiful harvest that you get to enjoy while keeping wildlife wild and communities safe. For more information on pests that affect different fruit trees, there are fact sheets available on the RDOS website that are available to anyone considering planting a fruit tree and are organized by fruit tree type. These are some important contacts and links that you should have readily available if you're considering planting a berry bush or already have one. There are 2 links that you should read on general care and pest management tools that are extremely helpful and are important reference guides. If you have any indication of brown marmorated stink bug, as I mentioned, you should either report it online or contact the BC Ministry of Agriculture directly.